Alright, blasters on full.
What's up guys, Gripe here with another review. Today we're going to check out the SH Figuarts Star Wars Episode 1 Obi-Wan Kenobi figure. And as always, we will start off by checking out the packaging. And it looks like they've gone back to the original color scheme. I guess the red and orange was just for the Force Awakens figures, so we're back to the white and silver here on the package. You've got the big window up front with the Star Wars and Figuarts logos in gold metallic print. You've got the Bandai and Tamashii Nation logos in the bottom right, and just above to the left of that you have the name of the figure, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Episode 1. And on the side of the box we have a close-up of the figure itself with the Star Wars logo above that, and the SH Figuarts and Disney logos towards the bottom. On the back you've got a few close-up pics of the figure, different heads, as well as a few different poses, and a bunch of Japanese writing. And on this side you have the usual Star Wars SH Figuarts graphics, along with the Star Wars and SH Figuarts logos. And on the bottom of the box here, we have the usual Japanese writing. And on the top, we've got the Star Wars SH Figuarts logos and the name of the figure. So now I'll crack the box open and take a look at the accessories. And this figure does come with 3 different lightsabers. You have the Obi-Wan first lightsaber used in Episode 1. And this is the lightsaber in the off position. And it's got a peg that hooks onto the belt here. You can see the little hole in the belt. And the peg just pops right in there and you're all set. And he also comes with the same lightsaber, but this one is on, and it's got a nice translucent blue plastic beam extending from it, which is nice and straight. And the handle is nicely sculpted and painted, just like the other one. Nice silver, black, and a little bit of red there, and everything looks good on this. And you also get a third lightsaber, and that is Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber that Obi-Wan takes after he's dead. And this also has a nice translucent green beam. Everything's nice and straight on the beam, and the handle itself is really nicely sculpted and painted. And I think it's one of the cooler lightsaber designs. This figure also comes with 4 different sets of hands. You have the closed fists here. These are installed on the figure. And they're all nicely sculpted, but there really is no paint applied to them at all. It's just a flesh tone. I don't know if that's a paint or the color of the plastic, but it's a very flat flesh tone color. The color itself is fine, but there's really just nothing to make it stand out. And these are the lightsaber holding hands. And here we have the open force push hands. And again, the sculpt is good on these. You got some tendons and some wrinkles on there, but there's really just nothing on the paint that makes it stand out. No shading or gradient applied, which you usually find on Figuarts. So I'm a little disappointed in that. I do like that they included these hands, which are a little bit different from most of the other Star Wars hands. You have the peace sign, although I know it's not a peace sign, and the relaxed kind of Jedi mind control hand gesture there, which I think is pretty cool. This figure does come with 2 sets of heads. I think both are really nicely sculpted. The likeness is pretty spot on. They do use that gold paint in the hair like they did for the Luke figure, which some people like and some don't. Some nice painted details there on the braid with the wraps in there, which came out good. The faces themselves are not painted, or if they are painted, they're machine painted and not hand painted. You can't really notice it until you get close, but when you do, it's a little off-putting. You can really see it on this head. It's almost like a half-tone type texture on there, like you would see in print. And it's just a little weird. It's not really nearly as good as, say, the Luke face, which I think was hand-painted, and you can really see it here. I also don't like the hairline there. Is a little too far on the forehead. But other than those issues, I think they came out pretty good, but not as good as they could have been. Alright, so let's check out the sculpt and paint on the figure itself. And overall, it's a beautifully sculpted figure. I think they did an excellent job, especially in the robes. The robes look really good. The arms look really good with the robes on it. Get a little bit of a closer detail here. And I love the layered effect that the robe has. You can see that's a soft plastic there, and it does come down off the shoulder, which is nice, and it makes it really look like it's an actual robe. Love the texture that they sculpted into it as well. Very cloth-like texture. I think it came out really good. You can see they have some nice wrinkles here underneath the arms, and the sleeves on the arms look really nice. I think those came out great. Look very sleeve-like, and I love how there is a big gap in there. Definitely just like a little wizard sleeve going on, which is pretty cool. And again, you have the layered look here on the back, which I really like. Also like that they have a different paint there on the undergarment, which is nice. And the belt looks pretty good. Again, it's soft plastic and it's movable. It's a flat brown though, which I'm a little disappointed in. That gold color though is absolutely phenomenal. It looks just like gold. I think that's an excellent paint that they use for that. But overall, I'm a little disappointed at the lack of shading on the brown parts of the belt. I think they could have done a little bit of a better job there. And the skirt pieces here are soft plastic, and these actually feel really good. It feels like a stiff fabric almost instead of a plastic with the texture they use. I think it came out excellent. The sculpt on the legs came out really good, but again, it's very flat. I wish they would have put some shading or a wash on there to really make the wrinkles pop. The boots, on the other hand, I think came out pretty much perfect. I love the detail in the sculpt, and I love that there's some shading and gradient in the paint. You can see some nice wrinkles here on the ankle area, and again, those came out really good. And there's no tread or peg holes in the bottom, which really isn't that big of a deal. So now I'll check out the articulation of the figure, and I have to say this is one of the better articulated Figuarts Star Wars figures. I can really get some dynamic poses out of this guy. You can get him to look up about that high and down about that far. It is a double jointed head and neck. You can get a little bit of twist on the head. That's about all you're going to get. You can get some sideways movement with the neck as well, though, so you can get some good range of motion that way. You can rotate the head completely around. Figure has pretty good shoulder joints. You can get the arms about straight out. You can rotate the arm completely around. You just have to be careful. Sometimes when you're at the top of that rotation, it'll pop the arm out of the socket, but it goes right back in really easily. There's also a bicep cut. You do have to isolate the shoulder a bit to really see it, but it is there, and it does have some pretty good rotation. Single jointed elbows. You can get just over 90 degrees with that, and you can rotate at the elbow. And just be mindful that there is a really big gap there when you're rotating, so try to hide that when you're posing. Wrist joints are your typical swivel and hinge. You rotate that completely around, and you can hinge it in pretty much any direction depending on how you line the joint up, but if you line it up vertically, you will get a lot more range of motion. This figure does have a diaphragm joint, and you can get a little bit of movement side to side. It's not that bad, but it is a little bit of a stiff joint, so just be mindful of that. You can get them really far forward and back, which is nice. And you can rotate them completely around if you want. And again, the diaphragm joint, it is a pretty good diaphragm joint, but it is a little bit stiffer than some of the other joints. You can get the legs out pretty far apart, which is nice. He has a really good kick forward. You get 90 degrees there. Kick back, you're getting maybe 30 degrees or so. You can get farther, but the leg does start to come out from the body, as you can see. Figure has single jointed knees, but you can get a really good bend on that. You do have a good amount of rotation at the knee, especially when the knee is bent. When it's straight, it kind of locks that out. You do have some rotation at the top of the hip here, although it's a little bit limited. You can see you can only get maybe 15-20 degrees at the most. Ankles you can get down about that far, and you can get them up about that high. Really not that much, but it's not too bad. You can get some really good poses. You can rotate the foot completely around, and you do have a pretty good ankle pivot. It doesn't look as good as it really is, but once you start posing, you really see it. And he does have articulated toes. You can get about 90 up, and unlike some of the other Figuarts, you can get them pretty far down too. Now check out the size and scale of the figure, and he stands at just over 6 3/4 inches tall. He's probably closer to 6 7/8. And he does scale pretty well for the Figuarts line, and actually better than some of the other Figuarts figures like Darth Vader. You can see he's a little bit taller than the Figuarts Darth Maul on the left, and a little bit shorter than the Figuarts Battle Droid on the right. And here he is next to the Black Series Stormtrooper, so you can see that he scales pretty well with Black Series also. So overall, this is an excellent figure, another great addition to the Figuarts Star Wars line. The sculpt on it is really top-notch, as well as the articulation. You can get some really great dynamic poses out of this figure. My only gripes with this figure is the paint app. The hands, belt, and pants came out really flat and could have used some type of shading or gradient to make them pop. The face was also really weird, the way the paint was applied. It looked like it was printed on instead of painted on. You have these little dots when you get up close, and the hairline spills over into the forehead, and these issues just mar an otherwise perfect figure from Figuarts. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. Subscribe for more.
Blasters are full.